A 1, 2. Man, I've been in. What's up, y'all? What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Yeah. Check it out without a doubt, baby. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's make sure. Shoot. I don't know what's going on. Hey, I've been in the studio all day, man, making arrangements, changing stuff. Oh, I ain't even got the lights on. We're going to do it without the lights, man. We'll do the other one with the lights. The computer's 95%, baby. The 95%, I got all my music stuff back on there. I've been on the phone with the people, trying to figure out how all this stuff gonna work back. I done pay all this money for these plugins. Y'all gonna tell me I can't get them to work on this computer? Nah, we gonna have to do something about that. So yeah, I had to put my foot down a little bit and everything. But long story short, we back. I made another little beat. This is a small little beat. See if I still got it, and I don't. I'm rusty, y'all. I'm rusty, man. I've been playing a little bit and all that type of stuff. But anyway, Phyllis Hyman, man, what? Way back then, man, I remember when she passed away, I was a Phyllis Hyman fan. You know, Uncle Mike a little old school, man. And I loved her voice, man, and her nice music and everything. Phyllis Hyman warned us about Clive Davis before she passed. I am itching to see this video. Y'all know it's a first time reaction. I haven't seen the video at all. I like to watch it when y'all watching it or whatever. Y'all might have seen the video because we get all our videos from the YouTube channel. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Thank y'all so much, man. Hit that subscribe button. We are helping people on this channel. It's my birthday month, man, and I'm going to the Philippines. Yeah. I'm going back to the Philippines. And we're going to be doing reactions while I'm over there and all that stuff. And I'm going to be showing y'all different things that we're doing. We're going to be putting in some work. So y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Yeah, the echo working. It's kind of too much. A little too loud or whatever. Let's turn some of the echo down. And let's check it out.
Phyllis Hyman warned us about Clive Davis before her mysterious demise. But here's the thing. Phyllis wasn't just trying to save herself. She was on a mission to protect others in the industry, including Whitney Houston. However, the circumstances surrounding Phyllis's passing were suspicious, and somehow all fingers pointed back to Clive Davis, who she worked with for almost a decade. But what really happened to Phyllis Hyman, and why was Clive Davis caught up at the center of these rumors? Well, grab a snack and let's talk about it.
So when you get ready to record, how do you go about looking for songs that you're going to do?
Well, most songwriters know the kind of music that I do, and we get a nice collection of things, and I just choose things by the way I feel. I like songs that have stories to them, that have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I'm hard pressed to sing about "Baby, I Love You." Mm-hmm. Don't you love me too? Mm-hmm. You know I love you, baby. Come on, baby. I can't really sing that. Nor do I.
Oh, okay, that's
have
coming
an easy
from
time singing about love.
Buzz.
I'm in love. I'll always love you. Oh, we're going to be happy forever. I have a difficult time with that kind of word because that's not true. It's a lie. It's not true for me. So I don't really like to sing about that very much, although there are a couple songs on the album. There's one tune called "I Found Love." When I looked into your eyes, there it was. That is such a lie.
God damn.
For so many years, and you are an artist. I mean, you sing.
Can you say this on the air? Pisses me off.
I think you can.
It makes me big time angry.
You just said it.
It makes me big time angry because of the fact that I have spent so many years developing this talent and working very hard at it. And then I realize sometimes, some parts of the industry, they're only interested in quick results, instant results. They get these artists, and these artists are thrown away afterwards. They think they're on the road to their big break. You hear from them this year, you don't hear from them anymore.
That's very true.
They're being used, and they're being discarded. Now, I've been in this industry since '76 making records, and I have gotten real strong because I have been depressed for many years because I only bring out a record every 5 years, due unfortunately to politics in this business. Being with Kenny Gamble's been a joy because he has been very supportive of me. And I'm grateful, even though it doesn't pay the bills, you know. I'm able to work on the road and do things with Lonnie and Grover because people believe in me, but it's taken its toll on me because I've been real depressed. I won't deny that.
Just before the passing of Phyllis Hyman, rumors had it that she and Clive Davis weren't on good terms. For one, Clive Davis felt Phyllis was too difficult to work with, and as for Phyllis, she felt Clive Davis was too controlling for her artistry. And this got the both of them clashing on several occasions. The difficult relationship dynamic between Clive and Phyllis soon escalated into a full-blown emotional abuse, and Clive Davis started overlooking Phyllis's songs completely. However, Phyllis wasn't the type of woman to cry silently in a corner. During a board meeting, she brought up the situation, but Clive tried to dismiss her. Things quickly took an ugly turn, and Phyllis lashed out at Clive, calling him a faggot and a plantation owner. If you know a thing or two about Clive, then you know for sure that must have really hurt him, considering how much he was trying to keep his under wraps at the time. Like many other celebrities at the time, Phyllis Hyman was considered one of the most promising performers of her era. Unlike other black celebrities who got their start in the church, Phyllis was different, as she didn't have that type of beginning. According to her, she got into music through school, beginning in high school and continuing through college. Before she knew it, Hyman had found her way into the industry and was signed to Clive Davis. And that was where her horrors began. A lot of fans regarded Phyllis Hyman as one of America's biggest stars. She was a songwriter and even an actress. Hyman lived a grand life and seemed pretty indestructible, so no one could have ever imagined that her life would end the way it did. Found unresponsive in her bed from an alleged overdose on sleeping pills. Her sudden passing at such a young age left fans in shock, and many began questioning what really happened on that fateful night of June 30th, 1995, as the coroner's report wasn't adding up. Strangely, those were the same circumstances under which Whitney Houston had passed, so people knew something was definitely wrong. And just for those who didn't know, Phyllis Hyman passed on the night she was supposed to perform at the Apollo Theater, which was just 6 days to her birthday, and it felt pretty strange that she would end things like that. That being said, let's go down memory lane to find more deets about Phyllis Hyman and why she was trying so hard to warn Whitney Houston about her mentor, Clive Davis. For starters, Phyllis Hyman was born on July 6, 1949 in Philadelphia. She was the eldest of 7 children. Her father was a veteran of the Second World War, and her mother was a waitress at a local nightclub, so they weren't exactly wealthy. She and her siblings grew up in St. Clair Village on the South Hill section of Pittsburgh. Her parents never really paid much attention to her musical side, so they never helped her harness it. However, after leaving Pittsburgh, her music training began at a music school. Fortunately for Phyllis, upon graduating, she was given the opportunity to perform on a national tour with a group called New Direction in 1971 at the age of 22. But there's more. After New Direction disbanded, Phyllis Hyman had no choice but to join another group called Hondo Beat. Aside from her love for music, Phyllis also had an interest in other things, like acting and modeling, and that would later cause a rift between her and Clive Davis, but Phyllis Hyman didn't care. Moving on, Phyllis appeared in the film Lenny in 1974, and she really ate her roll-up and left no crumbs. In the year following her acting performance, Phyllis Hyman was signed by Sid Maurer and Fred Frank to Roadshow Records and the Desert Moon imprint. But before then, Phyllis had done a 2-year stint leading a band called Phyllis Hyman and the PH Factor in search of something bigger than life. Hyman moved to New York City, where she started off as a background vocalist on John Lucien's Premonition and worked in clubs. But Phyllis Hyman still wanted more. In 1975, when Norman Connors could not get permission to use Jean Carn for his album You Are My Starship, he stumbled upon Phyllis Hyman, who was working at a nightclub on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. After seeing her perform at Carnegie Hall for John Lucien, Norman offered Phyllis a spot as the female vocalist on his 4th album for Buddha Records, and that was the beginning of what would later turn out to be a bumpy ride for Phyllis Hyman. But here's the thing, the song was a success, and it took Phyllis Hyman, Norman Connors, and Michael Henderson to unimaginable heights in their careers. As their careers advanced, Hyman sang with the likes of Pharoah Sanders and the Fatback Band, while also working on her solo album titled Phyllis Hyman, which was later released in 1977 on the Buddha Records label. According to multiple sources, Phyllis Hyman loved her record label because it was a tight-knit group and it gave her a sense of control over the kind of songs she could dish out, songs that were dear to Phyllis's heart. However, things took a wild turn when Arista Records bought Buddha, and Phyllis had to be transferred there, bringing her under the control of Clive Davis. According to Phyllis, things just never felt the same after she signed the deal again. Phyllis's first album after she was transferred to Arista Records was Somewhere in My Lifetime, released in 1978. Her follow-up album was You Know How to Love Me, which made the R&B Top 20 and also performed well on the club dance charts. Around this time, Phyllis Hyman also lent her voice for the background vocals of Dancing on the Ceiling by the Beck Family. Phyllis Hyman was popularly known for singing really depressing songs, and according to her, she used her songs to express how she felt. When she was asked during an interview why she never really sang a lot of romantic songs like Marvin Gaye and Barry White, she said it was because she had never felt that way, and this led the interviewer to ask her about her romantic life, to which she revealed that men usually didn't approach her the way they approached other women, and she wondered why. Although Phyllis was a very tall woman whose presence sometimes filled the room in an intimidating way, she was undeniably one of the prettiest and most talented women of her time. But after that interview, the media outlet twisted the story to make it seem like Phyllis was desperate for a romantic relationship. In late 1970, Phyllis Hyman married her manager, Larry Alexander, but this ended in divorce as both of them soon realized they wanted different things. For example, while Larry wanted kids, Phyllis wasn't ready to be a mother because of her career and the fact that she had experienced a little dose of motherhood from being the first child out of 7 didn't cut it for her. Having to act as a mother figure for her younger siblings at a very young age robbed her of the curiosity of wanting children of her own. In fact, Phyllis began hating her own mother for having more children than she could fend for. Around this period, Phyllis was experiencing more than just marital troubles. She was also facing issues with her record label and executive producer, Clive Davis. Though initially, Clive Davis was happy to have Phyllis on his label, seeing how talented she was. He wanted to make her a huge star. However, the way he was going about it didn't align with Phyllis. Clive Davis wanted Phyllis to change her image and also sing the kind of songs he felt would make her huge. But Phyllis was a very opinionated black woman who didn't like taking orders from a white man about her looks or sound. In the usual white fashion, Clive Davis labeled Phyllis an angry black woman who was very difficult to work with. But that wasn't all that made Clive really pissed at Phyllis. Aside from an open confrontation that occurred during a board meeting, it was also rumored that Clive Davis wanted Phyllis to solely focus on music. However, Phyllis also loved acting, and so, against Clive's wishes, she went on to act in Sophisticated Ladies, which earned her a Theater World Award and a Tony nomination. When it came to Phyllis's appearance, Clive wanted her to ditch the hats she was famously fond of, dye her hair blonde, and dress in a way that appealed to the masses. But Phyllis didn't want to give in to all his numerous demands. This workplace problem threw Phyllis into another realm of depression, where she began feeling she wasn't good enough. Before you knew it, she was allegedly turning to drugs for comfort. But here's the thing, it wasn't going to be the first time Phyllis used drugs as a means of escape. In fact, Phyllis and Larry had used drugs many times to mask their marital issues and get along, only to come back to their problems again the next day. Besides, Phyllis had also watched her father, who was a veteran of the Second World War, use alcohol and drugs as a means of escaping his troubles. After Larry and Phyllis went their separate ways, Phyllis kept her heart locked, ensuring that she didn't get into another romantic relationship anymore. However, she once talked about how lonely it was for her during an interview, and this were her words.
Well, it's very lonely. Being a woman in this industry, in my opinion, is extremely lonely. It's rare that you have men hanging around backstage and at parties and at places where you might be the same way you have women around the men. I haven't been able to figure that out yet. I'm going to do a survey and ask the girls, why can they come out and be so aggressive with men, with the male performers, and yet the males don't act that way? There is no such thing as a male groupie. I mean, at least not one I would date. So that makes it pretty tough.
Phyllis went on to say,
You have many, many things, but I don't have a romantic personal life.
and throughout her career, Phyllis always talked about how much pain her past relationship had caused her. But coming back to Clive Davis, he wasn't happy with Phyllis's refusal to do his bidding, so he decided to sabotage her career by not promoting her albums. Then enters 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, who was newly signed under Clive Davis. But that wasn't the only female artist Davis signed to the label to compete with Phyllis Hyman. He also signed Dionne Warwick, Aretha Franklin, and Melissa Manchester. Now, Phyllis felt particularly resentful toward 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 because Phyllis's career was pretty much on hold the whole time, while Clive Davis focused on 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, who did everything to please Clive Davis. The two women later became rivals. However, in 1984, Phyllis Hyman asked to be released from her contract with Clive Davis, a request which he grudgingly granted. At the time, Whitney Houston was already under Clive Davis, and just like other female artists under Clive, he was already Whitney, which Phyllis couldn't stand. Phyllis went on to sign with Philadelphia International Records, where she released another album in 1986 titled Living All Alone. In 1987, Phyllis still went on and recorded Black and Blue as a duet with Barry Manilow on his 1987 album titled Swing Street. Shortly after, Phyllis also went on to appear in the films School Days and The Kill Reflex. Phyllis continued to lend her voice to other artists, and her next album, Prime of My Life, was released in 1991. It was the biggest of her career, as it included her first #1 R&B hit, as well as her first Billboard Top 100 hit. Things were going fine for Phyllis after she left Clive Davis, and during a radio interview, Phyllis later addressed all the she encountered while working with Clive Davis. These were her words: "Clive taught me to never be afraid because I was so terrorized by him. Whether he meant to do it or not, I will never know. But he sure taught me that if you tried to terrorize me again, well, I can't say that on public radio. What I might do to someone who tries to hurt me like that again in this business, I'm not having it. I should be respected as I respect, and I will not have someone try to ruin my spirit and ruin my career. If Clive Davis, if his plan is to destroy my career, it didn't work." A lot of people believe that the terrible work conditions that Phyllis suffered all contributed to her mental health problems, and many believe she had bipolar disorder. Sadly, just 6 days before Phyllis's 46th birthday, Phyllis Hyman allegedly took her own life by mixing Tunol and vodka in her New York City apartment. Her side note read in part, "I am tired. I am tired. Those of you that I love know who you are. May God bless you." Still, a lot of people didn't want to buy the narrative that Phyllis actually took her own life. But y'all, what are your thoughts about Phyllis Hyman's last days, especially as regards her career? Do y'all think Clive Davis had a direct hand in Phyllis's demise or not? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on celebrity stories like this.
I did not know that she was signed to Clive Davis. I had no idea, man. I didn't look that deep into the business of music. I was doing music, focused on the music. But I know one thing, I played in a band, you know, ain't had nothing to do with her or anything, but we used to play a lot of her songs that I can't stand this, living all alone, dun 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 dun. Yeah. So I was a big Phyllis fan. I thought, even back then, man, I thought all these artists, again, man, we painted a picture of these artists that singing these songs are millionaires. They got the easy life. All they got to do is go in the studio and do music and sing. And it's clear, man, that I'm shocked again. That's not the case, man. That is not the case. You know, she said she was living paycheck to paycheck, barely making it. Her and the husband doing drugs, trying to cope with each other. That's not a life to live, man. And everybody's begging to get into this music business, even to this day. Everybody want to be a rapper. They want to do trap music. Hey, I don't know, man. I mean, if you sing, stay singing at home in the tub. I'm going to get on up out of here. Man, rest in peace to Phyllis Hyman, Whitney, and Angie Stones, man. We just did another video about Angie Stones. Golly, rest in peace, man. I'm going to get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out, man. Peace out.